Hello everyone. Today I'm going to discuss how to bring the data from the Simulink into the main Matlab workspace, like here. So I'll clear everything out and what I should do when if I want the data from my Simulink models into this workspace. There are a couple of different methods, so I'll discuss a few of them. So let's get started. I have this blank model and I will grab a couple of things. I need some constant, add to my block. I will add a transfer function. Like if you have a background from the control engineering, you must know what is a transfer function. So here is a transfer function block, and I'll be needing a scope like this. So I have a scope, I have transfer function, I have this constant. Right, so I want to make this transfer function a bit more interesting, so let's do it for a sine wave or cosine wave. So I'll change the numerator coefficients like 1 and 0. These are the coefficients for the equation for the numerator and the denominator, and I'll make this one as 1 space 0 space 1, right? So this will be s square, this will be s raised to power 1, and this will be s raised to power 0, or just a constant. So when you click on it, you will see this, but if you expand the box, you will see that you have a transfer function. So it gets some signal from here and puts it out into the scope. So let's run it. And you will see that you have got some output. So now I want this output to be in the main Matlab workspace. Like in here, I got this T out already, and the T out I believe is for the time information. So yeah, it's up to 10 seconds, so it's a time information. So to bring the data into the main Matlab, right here, I will do something like this. The first and easiest method is to go into the scope like this and click on the settings, and then go to the logging, and then log the data to workspace. So as this is the scope at the output, so I'll name it here as my output like this, and I'll use this format, save format, as the array, right? Because this is the easiest one to access. So let's do this, apply, okay, and I need to run this again. So my simulation time is 10 seconds, so this is also something to notice. So I just enabled the logging, and I should see a variable named work output in format array in my workspace. So if I go in here, I'll see that I have this output variable over here like this, right? So output variable has 2 columns. You can see the dimensions, and it has 56 rows, right? So what you can see in here, as I showed, that my simulation time is 10 seconds. So this is the 10 seconds. So the first column is for the time vector, and this is your actual output. Now to access your data, let's do this. You want to create a script file like this by creating on the new and then save it. So make sure that you have exact same name over here. This is output, and this is how you access the data. So as it has 2 columns and 56 rows, so what you will do, the first thing, I'll do this column thing, which means select all the rows, comma, and the column that you want to be in here. So I'll select the time information, so which is the first column. So this will select all of the rows in the first column or the time column. Okay, so I want to plot this, so put inside the plot, and then I'll plot this. So the time goes linearly, so this is, you can see that, and this is the time, and it goes to the top. So this is number of samples, and this is the magnitude of the time, like this. But here we want the actual sine wave that we did. Then we can select all the rows and we select the second column, right? Because here we have the second column, the output variable name, and we have second column in here. So just do this and run this thing again. So you have this sine wave as we did in here, like this, right? So this is very easy way. And now let's do a little bit of modification over here. I go to this and I want to add in other signal over here, right? Let's say I copy this, press and hold control and then drag it, it will copy itself, and I'll connect this to this thing, change the value like this, and increase the number of input ports like this, and then connect it here. And for sake of clarity, I'll go back to this screen and I'll clear all the variables and do CLC here, right? So let's run this simulation and see what happens. See, you have a problem, and it says that Simulink does not support the array format for logging the multi-port data. So previously it was just the one port over here, and the save format, this thing, the array worked very efficiently, right? But when you have multiple ports like this, when a scope has a multiple ports, this format will not work. You will have to choose one of the other formats. So let's do this structure with time. This is one of my favorites. So let's do this and apply and OK. Then let's run it again. Okay, the simulation is successful, and you see you have the original signal over here, and then we have the signal from the second transfer function, which is bit of a higher frequency, right? So let's go to the main MATLAB, and now you will see that you have an output variable and its type is a structure, right? So how to access this kind of variable? So let's double click on it, and you will see that it has multiple fields inside. It has the time information, it has the signals information and it has the block names, right? So what we are interested in is these signals, right? So double click on it and you will see that it has two values, right? So I'll click on the first one and you'll see that it starts from 0 and it goes to minus 0.54, right? So this looks like it's a value for this sine port, right? Sine port 1. And if I'll close it and I go back to the other one, and this is the value for the sine wave second port, the other transfer function that we just introduced, right? So we have got two values for the signals over here, and we have the time information over here, right? So what you want to do, what you would do to plot this data into the Simulink, into the Matlab. It's very easy. So if you want to plot the first sine signal, you can do this. Double click on it and double click on this thing, right? And you see this specific name, output dot signals bracket 1 dot values, right? So you need this exact name over here. So let's do this. Output dot signals into the bracket 1. So this is the first sine wave, the original one. Then do these values like this, right? So I need to plot this, so I'll do this. Plot into the bracket and like this, right? So let's plot this up by evaluating this selection, and we have the signal, right? Likewise, if you want to plot the other one, I'll do this. I'll hold on this figure. I want to plot this other signal on top of this figure, right? So I'll do this. Plot, again the same thing, but here the signals dot this thing would be turned into 2, because the second value, this one, when you double click on it, it has this name, output dot signals into bracket 2 values. So I'll just put here 2 like this, and then evaluate the selection like this, right? So we have this figure, right? So this is the original signal and this is the second result from the other transfer function, which has the higher frequency, and this is exactly the same as we got in here, right? So one more thing, you can see the time scale, right? We did the simulation for 10 seconds, but it is now going up to 60. We want the x-axis to be like 10, like in here, the original scope. So what happens in here, these values are plotted against the number of samples. So this is the 56th sample, like here, right? So what we want in x-axis is the time data. So that's also very easy. So what we can do, first I'll close this figure and I do this, right? We all know that we have this signal, so we use this plot, right? And we do this output dot, I close this thing and I go to the main output structure, which is here, and I go to the time, and I can see here the name output dot time. So I'll do this output dot time, So this is my time information or x-axis, and then I plot the y-axis as it is, as we did on the top, right? So just plot this, and you see that you have this the wave, and here you have the time information, 10 seconds, right? And likewise you can do the hold on thing on other things. So if you want find this thing kind of lengthy, you can always do like this. You can assign the other variables like the signal values. I'll say that this is my sine 1, right? So to be very simple around the code, this is my sine 2, and this is the output, 2 values, and this is my t, right? And here I'll copy this, right? So once you run it, you see that you have very neat and clean variables over here. Now all you need to do is to plot these signals, or just use these signals. Sine 1, t comma sine 1, or hold down, plot. Right, let's name it correctly, and okay, and here we have the same signal like this. So the beauty of using the structure with time, this format, is that you can log as many ports as you want to. So you just it will just keep on adding the signals into its output like this, and there will be like a lot of signals combined over here. So it's very easy to use and very helpful. You can save this workspace by right clicking on it, and then save all your variables, and then you can send it to some friends, your mentor, and you can also keep the backup of that data, or you can process the data afterwards, or you can process the data into this Matlab interface with the tools which are not available in the Simulink. You can do this same logging of this data by using another method, and that is to workspace method. So to do that, you want to go to this library browser and do this to workspace, and you see this thing. Let's grab this box, and here we have the sim out, right? Connect it in over here, and when you double click on it, it's a very easy block, and it requires only the name, right? So I'll say that it is output underscore new, right? So it has also a couple of save formats. You can do the structure with time, array, and time series. So you can also use this time series thing to save the data. So let's do that. And another thing to notice in here, you cannot increase the number of ports like you used to do in this scope thing, right? So it will have only one port. So click apply, okay, and then before I simulate it, I want to clear everything in here. right? So let's go back and hit simulate. So now let's go to the main MATLAB, and you will see that you have the output with the structure. This is something that's coming from a scope, and this is coming from the to workspace block, which we named as output new, right? So let's double click on it, and here you will see that you have two columns and you have some data over here, right? So the method of accessing the data and the time is same. All you need to do is to just do this. Take the name of the variable, which is output underscore new. Make sure it's the exact same name because it's case sensitive, and this will be equal to, sorry, put a dot, and if you want to access the time, you just do the time. Right, so this is your time vector. If you want to plot the data, you can do this, plot output, sorry, dot this thing. You see this name, you have to write the exact same name, data. So here is data, and if you just plot this out, reference to non-existent field, okay, we have to give it a complete name, sorry, like this, and you can see that you have plotted the sine wave against your number of samples. I hope you got a good idea of how to bring the data from the Simulink into the main MATLAB like this, right? And you can easily do the same thing with the scope just by clicking onto the logging thing over here, or you can use the to workspace thing, right? And now you know how to use the structure with time, and how to extract the data which is present inside this specific structure. So, thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe if you like the video. Thank you so much.